but I just won't come and you know, breathe on you. I'm better, thank you. It's hard to keep me out of a classroom, but anyways, excellent. Okay, so we're just in the technical portion of the class before we start at 11:10. We just have to make sure we're connected properly, and then we're going to have an amazing class. There's a lot to look at today, and uh, let me just show you something here. Oh, we'll come to that. The videos are working, so I've got the James Webb Space Telescope keyed up, so we can always come to that. And for the students online, I will put the link right now in the live chat for you. This first video, uh, James Webb Telescope, and there's some other videos that we will. Oh, this one, the Big Bang one, that we're going to be looking at too from MIT today. I'm going to put that in as well. So I'll get ahead, and then I can. Good. So I can take care of the onliners. And just for a little bit of fun, guys online, Andy, Curtis, Jonathan, Mohad, Oviata, Chanel, Tyson, go ahead and on your own, go ahead and watch the James Webb Telescope link that I just dropped into the live chat, okay? Because I'm going to run it here for everybody, and then we'll start the class. But just go ahead, keep yourself muted. So Andy, make sure you turn off your microphone. And great. Okay, and here we go. So I want you to just watch something pretty amazing about what's happening in the world today, and it relates to everything we're doing. Okay.
This is your telescope, an engineering marvel, an exploration powerhouse. Use it to look back down and explore the first galaxies that formed after the Big Bang. To peer into atmospheres of planets orbiting the stars. It's your eyepiece to the uncharted, unknown, and unimagined. This is the largest, most complex, and challenging space telescope ever constructed. It will change our understanding of the universe and our place in
Come on in.
the James Webb Space Telescope. Equipped with the largest primary mirror ever to be flown in space, at 6.5 meters, it's more than 6 times the size of the Hubble Space Telescope primary mirror. Lex 4, cutting-edge infrared instruments and cameras operate at super cold temperatures colder than the surface of Pluto. Getting this cold is done with the help of the largest sun shield ever flown, a 5-layer, tennis court-sized sun shield that blocks heat from the sun, earth, and moon. Webb will be the first telescope to detect light from the most distant galaxies in the universe. These first galaxies formed about 13.5 billion years ago, only 300 or so million years after the Big Bang. Webb carries advanced technologies to tackle some of the most fundamental questions about the universe. How did the first galaxies form and evolve? Are there chemical signatures of the building blocks of life on other worlds? Is our solar system unique? Launching such a large telescope into space is an incredible engineering challenge. Fully deployed, Webb is too large to fit inside any rocket bearing. Engineers designed it to be folded, like origami, to squeeze inside the European Space Agency's 5-meter diameter Ariane 5 rocket bearing. After launch, controllers on the ground deploy Webb remotely. Deployment is an intricate ballet. For nearly 3 weeks, controllers carefully unfold Webb, After this delicate dance, Webb's golden mirrors are precisely aligned using motors behind each hexagonal mirror segment, adjusting them to form one perfect mirror. Once the instruments are fully cooled, the exploration will begin. Webb is a technological challenge like no other, born of the efforts of thousands of people across the United States, Canada, and Europe. The James Webb Space Telescope is your telescope. Use it to explore, to challenge theories, to see sights yet unseen. It's yours to unfold the beauty and mystery in the universe and our place in it.
Yeah, let's keep that on the loop for a little bit. We'll do it silent for now. And let's bring everybody back. Actually, I'm going to stop it for a moment. Great. Excellent. So, welcome everyone to the Global Classroom for Chapter 2 of Short History of the World today. And it's great to see you all in person. And I would just like to also let you know that today's class is going to be really a blast for you because there's a lot I'm going to present to you about our beginnings. But before we do that, I just want to make sure everything is working and connected and that I'm dealing with our entire learning community and that you understand what you've stepped into, okay? So everybody is clear and there is still time for all of you. If you do not wish to take this course, there are some excellent gen ed electives here, and this may be not the kind of course for you in terms of this kind of classroom. So no problem, okay? You still have lots of time. But first, let me just make sure that everybody can hear, and I'm pretty sure those who are online with us synchronously right now can hear, but let me just double check, okay? So how about Curtis? Could you just jump on your microphone and let us know that you're there? Not the live chat. Just want to see if we can go real time for a moment. Okay, so Jamila can't hear anything. Okay, let's just see for a second. It could be. Just want to make sure. Okay. Oh, I think I know. Okay. Everybody, can you hear now? You can just put a whole bunch of yeses in the live chat. Oh, okay. Thanipat, go ahead. Please speak. Go ahead. And I can even pin you. Well, Thanipat, yes? Well, all right. I won't worry too much about that. I just want to make sure that everybody can hear because the truth is the class we're about to have, just a second, Modessa, is all about in person. But I just, this is good. Okay, hold on. Who wants to speak? Modessa? Is it Modessa? Go ahead. Jump on your microphone and say hello, please.
Hello?
Great. Okay, and then guess, oh, wait a minute. I touched this microphone. So in theory, I could infect you. So what's your name? Miriam. Hi. Miriam, could you grab a microphone, please? And this is the infected microphone. It's not going to go anywhere. Just turn it on and like karaoke, say hello to Modessa, okay?
Hello, Modessa.
Hello?
Excellent. It's working.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Great, good stuff. So you can turn that on and off whenever you like. And the reason we're using these microphones is because we're trying to get a much better immersive technical experience. If we had these microphones going up here, it would be too remote. So a lot of effort has been made in this classroom to make this like you're entering a movie theater. It's intended. The tech has to work. And then it's supposed to feel like a classroom and a lounge and everything else. But so these microphones enable everybody like Modessa and others online, including those watching the recording, to feel like they've come into this space. So this makes the sound a lot closer, like a podcast, like FM radio, okay? So I worked for many years as a television producer and executive producer. I started in the media business when I was very young, believe it or not, as a reporter at City TV way back in the early days of City, as a kid reporter. You can see it all online. So I'm 61 now. I understand production. And I know that if we're going to be able to create a classroom that's going to be meaningful for people today, you've got to engage with tech in a much more sophisticated way. Okay, so that's why we have these. So if you want to speak, Nico knows to just grab the microphone, okay, and you can hold on, or you can put it back. It's up to you, Miriam. You can put it back for now, and then we'll hand the microphone around, and that way everybody online can hear. I just want to spend a little bit more time dealing with the global classroom and this experience that you've entered into, and then we're gonna go right back to the beginning today and look at how human beings came to planet Earth. It's called the Big Bang, and it's called 13 billion years or so of extraordinary evolution in the natural world that I'm going to present to you today on our big board. Think of it like a movie screen, high def, $500,000 video wall. So the idea is that we want to be able to make this visually stimulating, but in the end, what happens between us in terms of our interaction in person is critical. So as much as this classroom is high tech, in the end, it's extremely low tech because the energy of this is going to be us interacting. And for those students who are online with us, notice nobody shares their camera, so we can't see them. And I'm not going to ask anybody to share their camera because nobody wants to anymore. And the truth is, as you all know from the pandemic, sitting in front of a camera for a long time is very stressful. You have to like literally freeze and hold your body like this and not move your head, and it's not real, and everybody hates it. So I don't care if you come in with your face or not, as long as we have your audio and we have your brain, and all those people watching online, including the recordings, they're coming into this space. This is not Zoom. This is not a whole bunch of windows. That's over. We've learned something about the pandemic. Technology can work, but we have to be more creative. People do not want to be sitting in front of their cameras and their webcams at home. It's awful. But if this in-person experience is not working, then the class kind of dies. Then it becomes like a Zoom call. So, for those of you who have chosen to be here in person, you are entering a very interactive human space. This is not about you coming to a classroom and disappearing into your computers. This is not what that's another class. You're welcome to do that, okay? If you choose to be here, and I've given you the option, you don't have to be here, then you've chosen to have a real class, which is we talk. Now, I just want to say to all of you today, this might be too much that I'm throwing at you. And so for those students who are sitting out of the camera's range right now and are not in the circle, do not worry, okay? You don't have to participate. But for the students who've come into this, get ready, okay? For the students who are basically sitting in here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So see that? It's those that everybody can see. That's what the online students can see and the rest of the world can see on YouTube. Those students are in the space where they're going to interact. If you're shy, then I have some news for you. I'm your teacher, your educator. Start becoming less shy. Take a risk. In the world today, you need to be able to communicate. For the students who don't like to communicate, and there are many today because the pandemic and being online has killed a lot of communication. And people are spending so much time online now that they don't even know how to talk to anybody anymore. It's not good. But I say this with all support for you. I care about you. This class could be a great way for you to learn to communicate better. But if you really can't and you have a disability, no problem. And a lot of students who don't want to talk, don't want to say anything, they end up being really good at writing and they can draw really well, so it's great. But I just want you to know, in the real world today, if you want a job, you're going to be working with teams. If you want to get ahead, you have to speak. You have to write. Otherwise, everybody's going to leave you behind. And you're going to become very angry and depressed and many other things. I don't want you to be like that. I want you to be ready for the world, okay? And there's a lot of mental health problems today, and a lot of it is related to our very complex, highly stimulated, messed up world that a lot of people don't understand. But we're gonna understand it in this class, okay? Nico knows. He's been in other classes I teach. So, okay. Let's stop for a second because we haven't even gotten into any real content. I just didn't have a chance to meet you last week. I was at home, so this is our first in-person experience. Does anybody have any questions at this point? Online, for all the folks online in the cosmos, I'm going to call it our online cosmos because you're all just little planets right now. Planet Andy, Planet Moa, Planet Ava. You're welcome to show your camera, but no pressure, okay? Planet Jamelia, anybody want to say anything online? Just jump on your microphone. Does this make sense? Hassan, does it make sense what I just said? Let's see. It says, great, okay, so we got it in the live chat. That's good enough. It's all right, but here's the best. What's your name? Meet? M-E-E? M-E-E-T. Okay, Meet. Could you take a microphone, Meet? And, okay, watch this. This is pressure. Meet, could you come sit here for a second? Yeah, okay. And just hold the microphone to your, like karaoke, so it's close. Okay, welcome, Meet. Thank you for helping to set up. Yeah, let's give Meet, absolutely. Let's give Meet a round for sitting, okay? I thought that was you clapping or something, but okay, you don't have to talk much, okay? I'm not gonna ask you anything difficult. Thank you for helping to set up, okay? Meet, I just wanna ask you, why have you chosen to take this class? It's an elective. Why would you come in here? There are many other electives. Go ahead.
Because I was planning to get in other class, but options were less. I find it a bit interesting, so I came in this class, and I also have some interest in history.
Oh,
That's why.
great. So you're maybe a bit of a history nerd like me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometime.
Great. Okay. Can I ask you, Meet, where you come from?
I am from India, Gujarat.
Okay, so let's just watch this for a second, okay? See, we do. I'm gonna just bring the little arrow over here and see if it's working today. Okay, good. So here goes the map. So everybody online, you can see the big board, okay? If you enlarge this on your laptops or you put it horizontal into landscape on your phones, you can see this. In other words, everybody now watching the recording live here can see the same thing. That's the global class. Great. Okay. Me. Where is India? Could you just give us a little geography lesson here? Is it up here? Is it green? How should I go this way? So
Go down.
down.
On the right side.
Ah.
Yeah, there it's.
India and whereabouts in India do you come from? Like what part?
I'm from Gujarat,
Gujarat.
just left side.
Left side, sort of.
Yeah, there it
Around
is.
there, yeah. So it's kind of near Mumbai.
Near Maharashtra.
Oh, Maharashtra. Yeah. Huh. And final question. Why would you in this class have anything to share with Miriam or with Nico or anybody else? Because they're not from India. So who cares about them? Yeah.
So India has various types of religion in there, and India is more famous for their food. Come to India, you will taste more spiciest food, and it is very delicious. I guarantee you, you will never feel any worse about any food.
It's true. Maybe you can bring some food for all of us at some
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
Really good. Okay, Meeta, I want to thank you for coming up, and really, that's excellent. Okay, you just put that
Thank
on
you.
so I don't infect, and you can turn it off. The idea of what I'm just showing you is a bit of how this is all going to work, which is you guys are going to be very important in this class. And for Meet to be able to come up here, and I'm going to assume he's, of course, an international student, right, from India, to come up here with English not his first language, and probably he has had a different kind of educational experience, and he took questions like that, shows real courage. However, he didn't answer the question completely correctly. But how could he know? Why does an Indian and a person from Oshawa or Whitby or Canada, and then there's a bunch of students around the perimeter and they're all from somewhere else, and Miriam, probably you are not from India, but you're probably from somewhere else in the world, right? Can you just tell us? You don't have to come up, but I'll take the arrow. Whereabouts are you from? In Well, let's go over here to Romania. And I have a bit of Romanian in me. Guess what? Yep, my grandfather or grandmother. So, okay, Romania. So we got an Indian, got a Romanian. I'm part Romanian, part Russian, part Welsh, and then Greek. So we got a lot of diversity. But we share something. We share something very, very important. And this is the story I'm going to be telling you this semester, helping you to understand. It's called the human story on planet Earth. Who are these humans? Well, that's another class called Global Leader. Where are these humans? Can you throw me the planet? Where are these humans going? That's humanity's destiny. That's another class I teach. Where do we come from? That's short history of the world. That's what I teach in this space that we've created at the college for humanity. It's a story for humanity. Who are we? Where do we come from? And where are we going? 3 general education electives. The story of the human race. And you saw last week from home a very good example of why we can start to tell that story, planet-wide human story. And I'd like to review that with you before we get into it today with where we begin and we go all the way back. So we'll always do a little review at the beginning of the class. Then I'm going to give a little interactive lecture and we'll try to get into groups and see how we can make that work this semester in terms of me giving lectures that are a little more spontaneous, that grow out of our conversations. There are no PowerPoints in this class. It's all happening up on the board, and then it's saved for you on DC Connect. So let's just stick to our focus for a moment. We're telling the human story this semester. we're going to understand something about planet Earth as well. But think back to last week's class. If you watched the recording or you joined it online, how many of you were able to either be in the live class last week or watch the recording? Can you raise a hand just so I know? Great, Nico, I can't remember everybody. Excellent. Okay, good. Everybody online? Yeah, is good. It's working. It's working. The audio is working. So here's the big question. What changed in the 20th century in terms of the human perspective that now is allowing us and opening us to a bigger story that's been happening on the planet, historically speaking? Not just the Canadian story, the American story, the European story, the Western story, the Chinese story, the Indian story, the Islamic story, the Jewish story, Christian story. All of those are kind of smaller histories. And they're all important. But what happened in the 20th century? You saw it last week. Who would like to try and answer that? Do you want to go? Meet's ready. Okay, go. Hold on to the microphone, okay? Yep. Go ahead, Meet.
Like to say change in technologies.
Change in technologies. Good start, but not quite the answer I'm looking for yet, okay? Let's, we're still in the review section. Miriam, do you want to hold? You can hold on, since Meet and Miriam now may be our defaults for the moment. Keep the microphones, okay? And then you take it if you want, okay? But you're always, Miriam, what was it last week that?
So it comes to mind the picture of the world from the space.
Exactly. And what's that picture called again? Do you remember the documentary I showed you?
I don't remember.
Good, but you're on it. Here's the first big note today. Somebody's going to go over there and take notes. I'll get you started, okay? I'll get you started. Watch how this is going to work. Okay, I'm just taking this slowly. This is how we're going to learn together. So I'm not going to be doing this all. I'll give the onliners the full blast of this because the students have said they like this. So hopefully the camera presets are all, yeah, okay. That's what they're seeing. And if students have said they like the use of the camera, you know, so here we go. I'm over here. Just a sec. Hi, guys. Okay, it's not completely framed properly. I can see it here, but watch. Okay, good, because this is the PDF that gets put into DC Connect. Okay, so here we go. Keep your eyes on me for now because one of you is going to be doing this in a moment, not me, okay? So we're creating live PowerPoint slides. That's what we're doing, okay? Not the kind that are, you know, brought in and it's 5 years old. You know, this is live. So here's what we do. Here it goes. And then let's call this review. Okay, that's all I'm going to write for now. Just a second. Hold on. This is working. Nico, don't fall asleep. Okay, but yeah, that's okay. Yeah, that's all right. You can, but just so let me bring it back. Next step. Who enjoys writing the written word? Like actually enjoys it? Miriam, do you?
But I do lots of grammar errors because this is my third language. So I'm not the best option for that.
You are absolutely. I see a hand going over there. Just a second. What's your name? Nicole. Nicole, do you like writing too? The competition here now between Nicole and Miriam. And the problem is, no, there's no, I'm just making this up. And also by way of teaching. Competition can be very good. And often in history, we tell the story of competing societies. You know, who's the big society, whether it's Rome or Egypt or Sumer, or then we get into England, or maybe we get into China. Actually, that's not what this class is about. It's about the evolution of societies. So I just wanted you to be aware that competition is less important than evolution. That's all. But I'm going to say, for the sake of it, for the moment, Nicole, Miriam threw up her hand fast, and she also came in to the circle right like this. She was ready. So I'm going to say, Miriam, go. Doesn't matter. We'll help you with the spelling. Third language. She's displaying something very human. She likes to learn. She likes to learn. How many of you speak 3 languages? Miriam, please go over there. Yeah, okay. Go to the side and we'll direct you, okay? Hey, hold on to the microphone. My job in this class is not just to give you historical facts and events and ideas and forces and people and all of that. It's also to help you think and get smarter. It's a very tough world now. It's messed up. It's volatile. There are 2 big wars going on. There are existential crises. If you do not get smarter, we're done. You won't have much of a life. The world will go on, but you will be very unhappy. So just, you know, a young woman who comes in and she's from another country and a 3rd language, and that's pretty good. You might want to think about speaking another language at some point. But anyways, okay. Miriam didn't get the answer correct completely, but let's just help her out, okay? So watch, Miriam. You're going to be on YouTube, okay? So there you go, okay? And if you want to say hello to anybody, yeah, you could. It's that camera there. I brought it around. Yeah, there you go, okay? So you're teaching, but I'll bring it back, all right? So what should Miriam have said? There was a documentary that you watched last week. One student actually emailed me after and said, Lon, could you send me the link? That was good. The link was available in the PDF on DC Connect, but that's okay. Nico, what was it? It was about the moon, yes, but what was it called? Yes. Lovely. What's your name? Grant? Craig. Okay, Craig. Could you write Earthrise there? Yeah. Here comes the first note. Go ahead. Just take the pen and start writing. Let's see what happens. We have a human being, wow, who is creating a word. When we get to the history of civilization, when we start the story and I show you what is maybe the most powerful invention of all in the history of human civilization, we've only been civilized really for 10,000 years. You're going to see this all in chronological order. You know what is probably our most powerful invention? What she just did. Nicole? Yes, absolutely. Okay, no problem. Yeah, I'll do it. I meant to close it. You are engaged already because you're listening, Nicole. And guess what, too? We are humans now. You don't have a machine in front of you that is mediating your life. I'm not going to point out anybody or anything. What that means is, Nicole, you don't have your phone in your hand, you don't have your laptop in front of you, you don't have a screen in front of you that's distracting you. You're actually able to look me in the eyes and we can talk. Bravo. Do you know that today grown-ups are starting to take medication for hyperactive, obsessive, attention deficit disorder? It's true. I can have that problem. Maybe I should reach for medication. Our machines, Nicole, are so powerful now. They take us away from each other all the time. So that's why I love it when you are trying to be engaged, okay? Be great if you could come in here, but don't worry, okay? You want to? Come in, okay? Come in so we can see the back of the and take a microphone, okay? And then how about somebody online jumping on their microphone up there and explaining why what Miriam is doing is the most powerful human invention of all. Anyone want to try? Online? In the cosmos? With their audio? Okay. Not too much engagement. That's all right. They're still there. How about in the live chat? Does anybody have their brain working in the solar system right now? Or are all those planets dead planets? It's all right. We'll see what emerges in the live chat, okay? So Nicole, grab the microphone, okay, and just turn it on, hold it, and tell us why what Miriam has written is such an important human invention. What did she do? What did she just do with that pen? That's good. Oh, here, yeah, Meet, do you want to help her? I don't want to touch it, okay?
Hello.
Lovely. So what has Miriam just done up there?
She has written.
Beautiful. That's it. You just aced that. It's a perfect answer. I have written a word. Could you write that down? I have written a word.
They have very nice writing too.
Yeah, she does. Okay. So this is starting to work. And Nicole, that's great that you could come in like this. You can turn it, when you're not speaking, just turn it off. Okay, that way when you're speaking, but that was perfect, okay? We are now set up, more or less, to start the story. Miriam is going to take notes. We will give her notes to take when we think it's important. And Miriam is also free to take any notes she likes at any moment based on what we explore together. Miriam, what other languages do you speak, by the way?
Oh, I speak Romanian as my first language. Then I speak Italian and I speak English and a little bit of Spanish and French, but
So we're
I'm
getting
not fluent.
yeah. And just before we get going, okay, let's ask Miriam the same question we asked Meet. Miriam, why are you here in this room right now taking this class that you chose to take? Could you tell us, please?
Mainly because I want to change my perspective on the world. I think I have a quite pessimistic idea of what humanity did to our beautiful world, and I would like to have more insight and develop my, my point of view eventually.
It's lovely. Do you know how to spell pessimism?
I can try.
I may mess it up. Does pessimism have 4 S's?
No.
Go write it. Just write it and see what happens, okay? Okay. Online, let's see if they're listening online, okay? Guys online, I know there's 13 or 12 of you live. How many of you would say you're pessimistic about the future? You can just go, put a thumb up in the live chat if you can just do that. You don't have to do anything more right now. You might be driving, I don't know, you might be eating. Are you there? Just put, let's see if they, good, pessimistic. Oh, Modessa wants to speak, good, pessimistic. Modessa, go ahead, jump on your microphone, please. You can speak. Modesta, unmute your microphone. Don't you want to speak? Oh, well, I guess not. That's okay. Modesta is not pessimistic. Okay, fair enough. But I will just say this one thing. We're still in review, and then we're going to begin the big story today, okay? Nico, you might have remembered from last week in our class, because I think I said that in the recording last week or in our class. I said, if you take a broader view, if you start to understand the human story, you might start to develop some hope for the human future on this planet. But if you live in a world drenched in social media, whether that's Instagram, whether that's TikTok, whether that's Meta or Facebook, and if we have to listen to Elon Musk say one more thing, then, I want to get violent because I can't stand listening to his voice. I know he's brilliant, but he just loves attention too much. It's the problem. And he has a lot to say that, I disagree with. But the point is, if you are drenched in social media and your computer and the news, it looks awful. War, slaughter. You're seeing live, like every war now is a world war because everybody's posting everything live. So you can see people getting mutilated. You can see the most terrible things. And then there's climate change. And then there's artificial intelligence, which means what's going to happen to us if the robots replace us? So there's so many things that can seem very, very dark and disturbing and weird. But Miriam, I'm so glad she said that she wants to maybe change her perspective or deepen it or open it. There's another story to tell. When you tell the story that's planet-wide, something opens up, and we begin to see that humans have done something extraordinary on this planet. We have adapted to constantly changing conditions. We withstood an ice age. We almost became extinct. We have understood, in spite of the great suffering, that every human being wants to be free. That humans don't want to be violent. They want to coexist with other humans, but human beings have a problem. Our technologies have grown at such an exponential rate, we haven't caught up emotionally, spiritually, personally. Our religions have not caught up. And so the technologies are just running away now to the point where you could go to school and cheat your whole way through. And a lot of your professors wouldn't even know because you're on AI the whole time, just putting prompt things into your ChatGPT and handing in stuff. I went through a whole semester last semester with students who were abusing AI, and I had to fail quite a few. I didn't want to because I like AI, but they were abusing it. They were giving over the intellectual process of how to form a sentence to the machine. And all they were doing was entering a few notes into the prompt box and saying, ChatGPT, give me my paragraph, please. Sure, you're going to fool some professors. But you know who you're going to fool the most in the end? You, because you will become stupid, because you won't even be able to put a sentence together. That's who you're going to fool in the end, in the long run. My voice. Okay. I need to stop. And I need to start a story. And I also need to check in with all of you to make sure you're understanding what's going on in this space. So I'm going to stop for a moment. Miriam, is it okay for you to stand there and continue to? Okay. Does anyone have any specific questions about anything before we're going to start the first chapter of the story today, which is we're going to try and blow through, if we can, 13 billion years from 13.7 billion years ago, which is the Big Bang, up into the Great Divergence, which is when humans or at least early proto-humans, began to diverge from our primate ancestors in the trees of Eastern Africa in the Great Rift Valley. In other words, over the next 14 weeks, we're going to do Where We Begin, we're going to do The Ascent of Humanity, we're going to do Civilization, we're going to do Awakenings of Power, we're going to do Spells of Our God Kings, we're going to look at the great world and how it came, the continents came together in terms of societies, we're going to look at a terrible conquest when the Eastern Hemisphere conquered the Western Hemisphere. Question, yes. Well, what's your name? John, thanks, John. You're right, but we're going to blow through the kind of natural, how nature evolved and created the planet from which humans arose quickly. And we're going to try and get to civilization very fast, because the truth is, John, this story is largely about the last 10,000 years with human civilization. But you need to know something about how the natural world evolved, because guess what? And here's a big word from Miriam. We are all living at a pretty important moment in history when scientists are about to change the name of this era that we're living in. It was originally called the Holocene. That was given back in the last ice age, about 12,000 years ago. We're about to give a new name to everything that's happening on planet Earth. It's called the Anthropocene, or the human age. Let's help Miriam write this down, okay? ANTH, ANTHRO. I can always go over and help you, but ANTHRO. Good, Miriam. POCE. C, like, cooking, cook, carrot, CENE. ENE. So CE, like Edward, N, like no, and E. Anthro means human. Scene means change. Guess what? I'm not making this up. Okay? This is going to happen next summer in Korea, when the geologists of the world will give this official name. Humans are changing nature. That's why you're in this class. How did it ever happen? The dinosaurs were here 150 million years. Ants have been here. They're very sophisticated. So are whales, dolphins, and giraffes, and your dog. But no creature on this planet ever, in the 4.5 billion years that there has been a planet, has ever begun to change the planet. We are. I can't stress that enough. We are fundamentally ignorant. And I put myself in this on what's going on. And that's why we all have to wake up. We can change the human body. We're starting to change the human genome. You can get into the 25,000 genes in your genome and edit out the genes you don't want. That started. You can change your body parts. We can create robots. We're changing the climate. Last year, the Earth's temperature rose 1.48 degrees, and we're not supposed to be reaching that point for another 10 years. A lot's changing, and it's because of us. So how did that happen? Who are we, we humans, that are doing this? That's what we're going to do in this class. We're going to try and understand, how did that happen? Is this making sense? Or am I paddling down a creek that's going to take us to a bad place like Niagara Falls, and we're all going to go over the falls together, and we're all just going to die in a boat together? Or am I actually paddling down a creek that's taking us to some place of real insight, to mix my metaphors? Okay, sorry, you had a question, right? Yes. That's where anthropology is from. You got it. Anything that has anthro in it as a prefix means human, man. Well, we say human now, not man. We don't say mankind anymore. We say humankind or humanity because guess what? All the women who were never part of history but were there, we've understood, Nicole, we stupid humans, that women are very, very important in this story.
You're not stupid.
Well, I'm saying this, and I'm including myself, and I'm just making a joke. No, you're not stupid, and I'm not stupid, but we could be smarter, Nicole, couldn't we?
We could be kinder as a whole.
Could you please write that down? Because that's going to take us, we could be kinder. And I'm going to start with the story. I'm going to take you somewhere now. Lovely thought, Nicole. Now, let me make sure I do this properly. We're going to leave the notes up for now. And while, yes, we'll bring this here for now. And I'm going to bring something over here. And I'm going to bring this just a second here. And I'm going to bring Nicole's notes over, sorry, Miriam's notes here. Good. For those of you who are online now, we can't see you. Oh, I can actually. I have the YouTube. I can see you, but I can't see the live chat. If you have anything to say, all of you in the cosmos, just park it in the live chat and we will review it in the live chat soon. But right now, I would like everybody focused on this board and me and us. Yes, Craig. Yeah, okay. Go ahead. That's all right. You can come and go. How are you going to be able to watch or get the rest of the content? There we go. That's how this class is set up.
For your time.
Nicole, thank you. I'm about to answer your question, or at least address the comment about we could be kinder. So make sure you watch the recording because we're going to talk about what you just said, okay? Later. Okay? We could be kinder. This is a story of humanity we're about to tell, not just humankind, humanity,
Okay.
but humanity as in a state of being as well.
Okay.
Thank you. You can put it here. Great.
Thank you.
Okay. Have a good day, guys. Yeah. Wait a minute. Did I just let students go? And I said the class is designed that way? I guess the class couldn't be that serious, could it? Yeah. Thank you, Craig and Nicole. Go ahead. We'll see you next week, or you can watch the recording. You want to watch the recording, Nicole, because we're about to talk about kindness. Anyways, whoops. See you next week, okay? All right, so for all of you online right now, you should be seeing all of us here, and you should be hearing me, and you should be seeing Miriam's notes on the big board. And I'm just going to double check because sometimes I get just a little bit paranoid about these things. Curtis, what did I just say? Could you jump on your microphone, please, and tell us, what did I just actually say? Curtis?
You're right about
Good.
the meaning of being kinder.
Yeah, good. Okay. And Curtis, stay on your microphone for a moment, please. Curtis, what do you see now in front of you? Do you see me at the podium?
Yeah.
And what do you see above me?
Short history of the world, a
Perfect.
story of humanity.
Great. We're good. We're good. Okay, thanks, Curtis. We're going to continue. So now we have everyone on the same page, so to speak. The story we're going to be exploring this semester is going to be chronologically told. It's a 13.7 billion year story. And when we talk about the story of humanity, we're talking about not just the normal meaning of humanity that you might be thinking of right now, which is humankind or mankind. When I say a story of humanity, I mean the story of us, humanity. But humanity actually has other meanings. Humanity is about a state of being. It's about kindness. As Nicole said, it's about a bond that unites us all, the humanity that unites us. There is a basic humanity, a bond, the human bond that unites me and Nicole, and me and Meet, and me and Remy, and me and Remy, and me and Miriam. So when we look at the story of humanity, we're also trying to understand what's happening. How is the human being evolving over time in this thing called human civilization? Are we progressing only technologically? And are we getting more cruel at the same time? Are we losing our humanity because we're not really evolving the deep part of ourselves? We're only evolving our tools, our gadgets, our machines. These are big, big questions. So I want you to remember that what Nicole said is very relevant. When we talk about humanity this semester, we're always going to be talking about its various meanings. Does that make sense? You good? Yeah? Okay. Please, if at any point you don't understand, always raise a hand or jump on your microphone. Okay? These are the chapters in the story that we're going to be exploring week to week. And today I'm going to try and get from, where we begin to the ascent of humanity, which is 13.7 billion years to 7 million, but I'm not going to be able to because we had a lot of reviewing. So it's okay. There will be many classes when I don't always cover all the period of time that I said, but that's all right. I can always leave you to be watching things online. I have recordings of lectures and I can give you parts of those recordings to watch. So the classroom sprawls from here online. Things will be posted later, and it doesn't begin and end in this room. But the basic idea is that we're trying to understand this story and just sort of introduce you to the critical developments in the human story, the critical events, the critical people, the critical forces, the breakthroughs in science and technology, the important wars or empires that came and went. But essentially, we're moving this towards the 20th century. That is the most incredible century in the history of what's happened on this planet. And there is a great force in this story that I would like you to start to think about. And I'm going to touch on it momentarily. It's called evolution. Can you just write that down, please, Miriam? The greatest force in our story is evolution. Now, I'm going to stop and just address this little question, and then I'm about to show you in a moment, when we start to go back, outstanding video that was done by the Massachusetts Institute of Technology with the most powerful computer that they have that simulates what happened with the Big Bang. And I'm going to explain about the Big Bang, and maybe we talk about the television show too, because it's not bad as well. But first, we need to just understand something. We are now starting the story. We are now beginning to ask, right now, where do we humans come from? And we're going to go back in time, way back in time, to begin to answer this. I'm going to ask you to do something that maybe will seem a little odd. I'm going to try to get you to remember when you were 6 years old, 7 years old. and you were maybe in a park, in a forest, on a beach, alone, going to sleep, and you had this sense of wonder. What's going on here? Where do I come from? Well, Miriam, could you write that? Just make another slide. And because I'm about to help our student understand, we all come from God. Miriam, yeah, just please write that down the best. What's your name? Yes. What's your name? No. We all come from God. Okay. Is it fair for me to say that your religion is important to you? Yeah. Uh-oh. What religion do you follow? Islam. Miriam, are you kind of religious?
Oh,
Not a lot. Okay. Okay. Islam. Fair enough. Not so important religion. Anybody a Christian? Yeah. Biggest religion in the world, Christianity. 2.5 billion people follow the gospel of Jesus. 1.5 billion follow Muhammad, the prophet Muhammad, your prophet. And I hope it's okay if I say his name, because there are some Muslim students who don't like it. And I want you all to know, in this class, there is much more than Islam. And so I can say Muhammad. And there is much more than Jesus. And there's much more than Moses or the Buddha. It's the human thing. So I will say his name. And if you do not like that, please say so now, or you can send me an email and tell me why. Okay, that seems great. That is the Quran. A beautiful copy. Those are the scriptures of the Islamic faith, of his faith. When we start to ask the question, where do we come from? We inevitably face our first big, vexing, basic question. Who are we going to believe? Should we believe the story that comes out of the great holy scriptures that are followed by the monotheistic faiths? The first being Judaism. I'm a Jew. Then comes Christianity. I'm not a Christian, but my wife is. And then comes Islam, in that order. They're all the Abrahamic religions. They all have Abraham as their patriarch, and they all come in that order. Islam was not first in the monotheistic world. Judaism was. But then that's monotheism. That's one God. What about the Buddhists? What about the Hindus? What about the Sikhs, the Zoroastrians, the tribal cultures? They have all sorts of different interpretations of where we come from. So the story that we're going to tell this semester is the scientific story. We have to. We will always respect Islam and one God, or Judaism and Moses, or Christianity and Jesus, or Buddhism and Princess Siddhartha Gautama, and the Persians, Baha'i faith, Zoroaster. We will respect all of these religions, but the truth is, there is one story today that we tell because we live in that period in time. We live in the scientific and technological age. And so science is the story we're going to largely tell, because science is about evidence. However, for those of you who are religious, You're not going to always like this. And all I'm going to say to you is there is a huge clash in the human mind, the human heart, the human imagination. There is the force of science and there's the force of religion. And both of them were created by humans. Science is about what is really happening in the natural world. Like, what the hell is this thing made of? Like, is it really take it apart? Oh, so it's got some batteries in it and you twist this and you put that together and you get a microphone. How do things work? Really work? Religion is, well, a microphone. It's very powerful, very beautiful. We should honor it. We should pray to it. That's, do not touch that microphone. Every religion, whether it's Iroquois, Mohawk, tribal, Buddhist, Muslim, Jewish, Christian, they all have immense respect for the things they don't really understand. And that doesn't mean they're irrelevant. But we're living in the 21st century. Your life is dominated by science and technology. Let me just give you one example that you may never have thought about, and then we'll move on. So that you understand that the story we're about to tell is the science-based one, not the religiously based one. If I take my phone right here that's connected, I don't want to unplug it, and I had my phone in my hand, and I looked into that phone, I would eventually find a microprocessor. And in that microprocessor, I would find a transistor. And in that transistor, I would find electrons. Right now, when you send information very fast on your computer, on the phone, up here, if we humans had not discovered the electron in nature and then figured out how to put it into something to give us power, we wouldn't have electronics. And you wouldn't have a computer. And we wouldn't be able to talk to each other. In so many ways that you may not think about, but are very true, including the glasses on your face, including the sneakers on Miriam's feet, including the bottle of water in Nico's shoulder right now. These things are all manufactured things. And often they're with materials that humans have figured out how to extract from nature and put together in the way that we took the electron and began to build our modern electronics. That's science. That's understanding what we can take out of nature. Technology is what we begin to create from those things. That's science and technology. They're the most important, most powerful forces in your lives. So religion is wonderful, but it can't help us to really understand how that microphone is made. Can it? Now, this is your first class in this room with us, and you may not feel confident yet saying, Lon, you're wrong. But I love it when students challenge me. Okay, so come, is it correct, John? Sorry, John. Is it John Savage? Yeah, I remember. What's your name? Steve. Okay, Stephen, can you? This I touched. Miriam, could you give Stephen? Okay, it's okay. Miriam will give it to you. Here we go. And for the students, I'll come to the students online in a moment. Stephen, please go ahead.
Okay, I think this can hear me.
Yeah, great. Yep.
I'm just taking a moment to think.
Yeah, good.
So those questions that science can't answer. So where did life come from?
Well, I'm about to show you, but I I like where you're going because I think you're asking that science doesn't know everything, does it?
Well, there's questions that you can't answer with science,
That's true.
and it's called the Big Bang Theory. Has it ever been proven?
I'm going to show you some proof today, the beginnings. Yes, I am. I'm about to. I promise.
Okay.
And I'm going to recommend a book that you might want to read. Do you want to write this down? Okay, just to help you. Okay, there's a wonderful evolutionary biologist at the University of Chicago. His name is Jerry Coyne, and the book is called Why Evolution is True. Now, Stephen, I'm going to give you an example from that book. It's fascinating. Jerry Coyne has spoken at length to many international audiences, presenting the evidence for evolution that began when Charles Darwin and Alfred Russel Wallace in the 1850s began to show us this. But he said something interesting, okay, just so you know. He said there was one event he went to, great. Afterwards, there was a well-respected, successful businessman, smart, modern, who came up to him and he said, Professor Coyne, I know what you said is true, but I still don't believe it. What he was trying to say, Stephen, is that it's hard for humans to deal with the fact that when you go back far enough, it certainly looks like, from the evidence that we have, that we come from single cells that you're about to see called prokaryotes, going back hundreds of millions of years, and that these prokaryotes evolved into eukaryotes, and then the eukaryotes evolved into algae, and algae began to reproduce and form other complicated life forms. I'm going to show you this process, and then eventually, over time, we get complicated life forms, we get primates, we get apes, we get humans, and you might go, this is crazy. I'm not evolving from like a little cell. God put us here. But this businessman said, Jerry Coyne, I know what you're saying is true, but I still don't believe it. So I want you to open yourself to the idea that we humans kind of just got here, Stephen. We've only been here 10,000 years as a civilized species. It's very new. And we're learning so much from science. But science is revealing things to us, but science has revealed many things we don't know, many things it's going to reveal to us in the next few hundred years. So science is not the answer to everything, but it's the best we've got.
You talked about single-celled organisms,
Yes.
which we supposedly evolved from.
Yes.
Where did they come from, do you think?
Question. I'm glad you're pushing for this because I'm going to help you to see something now. I'm going to go back to the beginning, right to the beginning, Stephen, and I'm going to answer your question. I'm going to take you back about 13.7 billion years when there was nothing, as far as we know. And you're about to see something happen. Where does that something come from? We don't know. The limits of our knowledge extend to... Okay, good. That's where religion might help us, Stephen. Even Albert Einstein said, I don't know where the energy comes from. Maybe it is from God, but there is a story here that we have been proving again and again that is telling us more accurately how it all happened. But there's still so much we don't know beyond that, beyond 13.7 billion years. And that may be where God is. Who knows? Does that make sense? It's the same way that single cell, well, you're going to see where that cell came from. But why did that cell start on planet Earth and nowhere else? Well, there are chemical reasons for that I will show you. But
So you think chemicals created us?
no question. No question.
So where did the Big Bang come from then, chemicals?
You are so engaged. I love it. And I'm going to take you through this now. Okay. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you.
Okay.
Thank you. This student has courage because he's listening to me and he's going, I'm not so sure.
I have another question.
Go ahead.
So doesn't the Big Bang theory constitute a religion because you believe in it and you think that that's how the world started?
Well,
You can't prove it, but you have faith in it.
I'm going to start with this thing you're looking at right now called an ancient gamma ray burst. And then I'm going to take you through some time now, Stephen, okay? But thank you for asking these questions. There was a student who jumped in, I thought I heard. So hold on, I'm going to go back to our video conference for a moment and make sure and see what's happening. Was there a student who jumped on their microphone?
Yeah,
Please go ahead.
yeah, like similar to what John, I guess that's his name.
Stephen.
Steven, I'm so sorry. Yeah, similar to what Steven is saying. I totally agree where he's taking the conversation to. Because, yeah, science, if you're gonna say, oh, it's science and oh, Big Bang and all of that, I feel like at some point you realize science contradicts itself. Take, for example, science teaches us there is no mass can never be created or destroyed, right?
The which Kent?
Mass,
Mass. Oh,
yeah,
mass. Yeah,
yeah,
mass. Sure.
can
Yeah,
never be
mass.
created
Yeah.
or
Matter.
destroyed.
Mass and
So
matter. Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
So the existence of the cell, as well as everything else, plus the chemicals, it wasn't by chance, right? And also, I'm a Muslim, and I'll tell you for a fact, they're like stuff. There's so many things in the Quran that explains so many things that we figured out later on in science. Because I think I can't remember exactly when science was discovered or like the first breakthrough of science, but you have like revelations in the Quran talking about the world, the universe, continuous expansion, that kind of stuff. So
Sure.
there's so many other stuff like in the Quran, but I don't want to turn the history class to a religious class, right? So I would only like chip those in whenever like maybe something comes up that contradicts something
Sure.
or like which has been even like stuff like I don't know if you know what the knocking star is.
I'm going to stop you for a
Yeah,
second. I'm going to stop you
all
because
right.
I want to make sure I at least stay on track. We're falling behind, but it's good. This is all
Oh,
on, and I want to also put into context what you've said and Stephen, so it makes sense. Because
yeah,
you said it's Quam. You said that it's this is not a religion class. Well,
yeah,
I do want you to understand, just to reiterate,
yeah,
there are two critical forces that we are talking about in the human story, the force of science and the force of religion. They have been called the two greatest intellectual forces. So religion is a very important part of our story, Quam, and you are going to meet religious prophets, free-thinking prophets, others who've brought humanity new ways of thinking about themselves. So I want you to know that Quam, this is an interdisciplinary course. It has all sorts of, has anthropology, it has religion, it has physics, it has sociology, it has politics. This is the human story. And interdisciplinary means in between all the different disciplines, in between science, in between religion, in between sports management, in between nursing and paramedic and firefighting, there is a bigger story. It's the human story. Does that make sense?
yeah,
So, Quam, thank you for saying what you said, but you're wrong in the sense of saying religion, that's another class. Religion is part of this story, okay?
okay,
Just want you to know that. It's just that we can't go into the kind of detail with religion that maybe a religion class could, but religion as a force in our story is very important, okay? So let's come back to the story. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend the next 15 minutes or so just helping you understand what the Big Bang was, the evidence for it, and also showing you the video from MIT. And then we're going to end today. And it's okay. We'll catch up next week. But generally speaking, we'll end the class, at 1:45. I should say at 12:45, 15 minutes early, and we won't generally take a break. So we'll just go for a good 90 minutes, okay, from 11:10 to 12:45. So how do we know the Big Bang happened? Well, we kind of do. And we're starting to learn about it. And I'm going to bring you the first little bit of interesting evidence that will help you to appreciate this. And let me make sure I don't get too messed up with my tech. And we'll come back here. And we will go to here. And you are now looking. Could you write this down, Miriam? It's called an ancient gamma ray burst. Ancient. Spell it any way you like. We'll help you later, okay? Just go ancient. This is the oldest thing we humans have ever seen with our telescopes. The beginning of today's class, ancient gamma ray burst. Gamma ray, Gamma. John? Okay. You want to go help her, John? You can go and... The James Webb Telescope that I showed you at the beginning, that NASA has just put up into the cosmos with the most powerful telescope that's seeing further and further into space. It's just one more example of machines that we're creating every day. Telescopes, microscopes, all sorts of things that allow us to see further in time and space. That is a speck of light. And we know that that light has been traveling through the cosmos for about 13 billion years. Our telescopes have seen it. It's been moving at the speed of light. The speed of light goes about 250,000 kilometers per second. Just get your mind around this. It goes around the Earth, a photon of light 7 times in 1 second. The Earth, its circumference is 40,000 kilometers times 7 or so, 280,000 kilometers. Photon of light moves at 250,000 kilometers per second, around 6 to 7 times around the Earth in 1 second. Get your mind around that. It's not easy. Albert Einstein, said he dreamt as a teenager that he wanted to ride a photon of light. So there's light that moves very, very fast. When light moves over time, it starts to dim. And we know that because there's a thing called redshift. And you can see that, Stephen, right there in that little speck of light. That redness around it tells us that that little bit of light is about 13 billion years old. And if you rewind the time, we can start to see that 13 billion years ago, from where that light came, something very, very bright happened. And the brightness was so incalculably, unimaginably bright. But gradually that light started to travel and dim over time. And now we're seeing it as a tiny speck. Very old. Very, very old. Now, we're talking about scientific evidence now. I want to remind you of something you're about to see when it comes to rocks. Because you're going to see a lot of rocks start to take shape on planet Earth. But I'm just speaking about evidence. Do you know how we know that this rock is a certain age? I can't tell you. I don't know. Do you know how we date a rock? We cut into it. And you know what's inside this rock? Uranium. And we can date uranium by how it degrades. In the same way we can date carbon, because carbon's in all living things. by how it degrades. Carbon is not in that. Carbon is in you. Uranium is in this. Science has given us a tool to date these things. So if you tell me, well, these rocks were just put here by God, and I don't know how old they are, you're not opening yourself to evidence. So we have begun to understand something about what took place from about 13.7 billion years ago over the billions of years. But I'm about to show you some evidence for this, some more evidence from MIT, from some very good scientists who are beyond my knowledge, but they put this together into a simulated video of what happened. And you will start to understand, Stephen, what redshift means. You're going to start to understand something about subatomic particles. Because what we think happened, at least the best information we have today, is that the Big Bang 13.7 billion years ago wasn't really a big bang. That's just a kind of a dramatic term. It was the emergence of something out of nothing. And that something began to spread. And in that something was a process called evolution. But that something, we have begun to understand what was there in that beginning emergence of light. Subatomic particles, photons, neutrons, electrons, and even smaller, as we're beginning to understand today, quarks. All of these things around us, Stephen and others who may have questions about this, all matter is made up of atoms. We know that for a fact. But in atoms, we've learned through science that there are subatoms, subatomic particles that make up the atom in the nucleus. And one of those is the electron. We figured that out. We put it into our microprocessors. So, Stephen, what emerged 13.7 billion years ago were subatomic particles, photons of light. And they're going to begin to spread. Gravity, which is a force that's going to bring them together eventually. There are other forces, but gravity brings everything together. It's a force. Isaac Newton showed us that. That's science. If you look under your bed and you see all the dust, and you see clumps of dust here and clumps of dust there, you go back to that bed 3 weeks later, and you'll probably see the clump of dust has moved over and it's clumped with another piece, because something tends to pull things together in nature. That's called gravity. So my answer at this point, in a very introductory way for all of you to understand what was happening with the Big Bang, is that the subatomic particles began to emerge, and they're going to start creating things through the forces of nature. They're going to create stars. Those stars are going to explode and die. And when they die, they're going to create all sorts of new elements like gold and like silver and like aluminum and tin and things that we're going to find in our planet. I want to show you this video so you can start to understand something about how incredible this process is that eventually is going to lead to the creation of our sun about 5 billion years ago, and then is going to bring about this, our solar system, which is going to begin to take shape about 4.5 billion years ago. We're going to see all these things starting to line up. And then we're going to see something really incredible happen. And then I will show you the video, but I just want to say this one thing. We say that the solar system lined up around 4.5 to 4 billion years ago, after the sun was formed. The sun is the battery of everything that has happened on Earth. The sun came first. It's our star. Take a look at where Earth is. And tell me if you see something special in terms of Earth's place in the solar system that is about to tell us something maybe about God, Stephen, maybe about something incredible that we don't understand. Yes. Yes? We're kind of in the middle. There's Mercury. Really, that's the closest planet to the sun. It is super hot. Of course it would be. Then there's Venus. Then there's Earth. Then there's Mars. We're the third rock from the sun. Mars is the fourth. Then we get into, Pluto, Uranus, Neptune, Saturn. I forget the order. They're all gassy. We say, through some accident of nature, this is where your religion may help you, because I just used the word accident. We don't know exactly why. We can say gravity made this happen, and we can say other forces, but the Earth got the perfect spot. Not too hot, not too cold. It's called the Goldilocks zone. Can you write that down? The Goldilocks zone. And John, whenever you can help her, go ahead and help her, okay? Not too hot, not too. You remember the three bears, Goldilocks? You eat a porridge and not too hot. So we say this, Stephen, that Earth, by some miracle, some accident, something we don't fully understand. Maybe it was God or gods. Not too hot, not too cold. Therefore, the right chemical conditions came together to create this amazing story you're about to see. Thanks, Miriam. Very good. Now, I want to stop and just show you the video, and then we're going to end the class. It has been said that the larger the island of knowledge, the longer the shoreline of wonder. I think I said that last week. I'm going to say it a lot. You might be surprised in what I'm about to say. There is so much we don't know from science that I would say what has taken place, what you're about to see take place on Earth, is almost a kind of a miracle. The more we're knowing through science, the more we're beginning to really understand what happened, the more our sense of wonder, at least for me, is growing. Because it's so unusual, so amazing, so awesome to think that we on Earth happen to be lucky enough to get this right spot that's not too hot and not too cold, and therefore we're going to see the chemicals come together in just the right way to create life in humans. It's so wondrous. I'm almost tempted to call it a miracle. But I won't, because I want to stick to hard science. That's why I'm never going to diss religion, put religion away. There's so much we don't know, but let's look at what we do know. And we're going to go to some of the best scientists we have, astronomers. I'm going to take you to a video, and we're going to end today with this. And I want the online students to please go to the live chat, and I will put it in the chat for you now. It's called Illustrious. Here we go. I'm going to end with this. Illustrious. Could you all please online mute your microphones and watch this video? And now I'm going to show you from some of our top astronomers and cosmologists at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, who have taken hundreds of thousands of numbers from their research, put it into a computer, supercomputers, to simulate what it looked like at the very beginning. This is the best science, using computers to help us visualize what was going on. This is cool stuff. Here we go. Okay, so go ahead, guys, click on Illustrious, and I'm going to now do the same. I will bring it here, and here we go. Watch for redshift. You'll see it, Stephen, redshift. Okay. I am, unless there are any questions, I'm going to end the class right there. But let's see. We will review this next week and we can talk all about it, but we're out of time and I'm just looping this silently, so it'll play again. Okay, Stephen? You want to say, you can think about this. You don't have to say anything, but you're going to, by the way, I should say one thing, okay, for everybody. Let me come back to your first reflection will be assigned this weekend, and I'd like you to know how things are going to work. There are no tests or exams or anything like that this semester. There's a lot of writing, a lot of reflecting, okay? So I'll just say this quickly, but then we can do this in review next week. There will be 4 reflections. The first one I'm going to assign this weekend. I'll be doing 2 weeks, and you will reflect on something that you think is really important in the class, okay? I will explain on DC Connect. So Stephen, you will have a chance to reflect on this if you want, okay? But is there anything you want to say at this point? And then we'll conclude, okay?
So does that prove like the Big Bang created Earth and everything that exists?
It starts to.
How?
Well, we know from this that first those particles produced gas. So what you saw in the video was gas. That was the first matter that was produced as a result of the Big Bang. So the subatomic particles started to create the first matter. And that is, if you look at a periodic table of elements, all the different chemical elements, the first 2 elements in the periodic table, hydrogen and helium. They're the 2 most important gases in our universe. They were there right at the start. The gases, hydrogen and helium, began to be pulled together through the gravitational force, gravity. Those gases will eventually form our first stars. Stars are gas. Our sun is gas. I'm not saying this is everything, Stephen. I can't say this is the whole proof. Just keep coming to the classes, keep asking these questions, keep demanding to know what the science says, and I will do my best to help you. All I can tell you right now is this is the beginning. I'm just showing you the tip of the iceberg in terms of when the Big Bang happened. We know that there was an event 13.7 billion years ago because we know that there was some kind of light that emerged that was huge, and it has faded over time. And that's what redshift shows us. That's what the gamma ray burst shows us.
You think that there is light?
Absolutely.
That's pretty consistent with like the Bible, don't you think?
Yes, it is. And again, we're running over time, but I'm going to just say to answer Stephen, because it's so important that I answer the questions. But if you want to stay for 1 more minute, then we'll continue. One of the things about the human being, Stephen, that is remarkable is our imagination. And as Quam said, and as many religious students have said in this class, my scriptures were already telling us what science is proving. Do you know how many Muslim students or religious, but mostly Quran, because they're very educated, they will say, the Quran says science, like, Lon, you're not telling me anything new. The Quran already said this. No, they didn't. It was very broad. The Quran didn't tell us exactly how it would work, but the human imagination that wrote the Quran, that wrote the scriptures, that wrote the Veda and all the other texts, they were looking up and their imagination was very, very rich and was beginning to think about light and darkness, but that's not proof.
Please, I need to
That's
say
the human imagination at work. Yes, Quam, go ahead.
it's not the human imagination, because because like there's so many detailed stuff that we didn't even discover. I feel like there's something like we've recently discovered,
Yes.
like I was saying earlier, the Pearson star. I don't know if you know about it. It's called the Pearson star, and
Yeah.
there's a complete description about the Pearson star in the Quran, which is in the universe. This is not something like you just look up and see. The formation of the embryo in the female womb is written in the Quran. This is not something you just open your eyes and see. They're like they're like details. And also I want to say something, right?
Okay.
So take for example, you have light, right? You have fire. Fire can be a form of heat, can be a form of light, and it has like its shape, its formation, right?
Sure. Quam,
You know,
let me stop you and say, Quam, could I extend a friendly but not forced invitation to come in person next week so we can have you appear here and help us to understand and be ready to
all right.
engage?
Yeah,
Would
no
you?
problem. Yeah, no
I'd love
problem.
it to put you because what he's saying is going to be haunting us all semester, which is, does religion really know more than science? It's very important what Kwam is saying, but I want him to do it here live, and then he can take questions, and I need to let you go. This is a small part of the story that I started today. This is going to be our story, civilization. That's why the map will always be there. That's humanity. I'm just trying to give you a tiny taste of the fact that we're learning so much new stuff from science about where we really come from. That's all. Okay? Thank you, everybody. See you next week, okay? And watch for announcements on DC Connect. Miriam, John, thanks for your help on the notes, and talk to you soon, okay? Thank you, Kwam. It's Rami, yeah, I remember. Yeah. Were you in another class? Yeah, because I know the Rami, I think we went through this already. But is it Rami or, okay, I'm going to turn this off. Yeah.